Okay. I think it should be live now. It's definitely live, and I can see myself. Maybe it needs a few seconds. Maybe it needs to refresh it or something. Someone.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good evening. Is this on? Hello, testing. Testing. Okay, we'll figure this out in a minute. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Growth Hackers Dublin number 4. I'm delighted you're all here this evening. We've got a jam-packed event. We've got an insane number of slides. So I'm going to be at the back with a big whip, like making sure that we flip through them. But we have also insanely talented presenters for you. I'm convinced this is the best lineup yet. I'm super interested to hear what they're going to say and talk about. So the way this is going to work is, first of all, I'm going to have you out of here by 9 o'clock. Second of all, if you haven't done so already at the next interval, whatever your interval, if you have a chance, if you have any specific needs, so if you need a job, you need help finding, recruiting someone, you need a date, whatever you need, put up on the board over there, and we'll try and help you find that halfway through the event. I'm going to be thanking a few people as we go along. First, because he turned up first, was Ben. Ben is an awesome photographer. He's looking for photograph gigs. He will do anything. He'll do your wedding, your bar mitzvah, your christening, anything you're interested in. Okay, awesome. And I also want to say thanks to Bob. Where's Bob? Around here. He's doing our live Google Hangout, which is working awesomely. And that's it. Now, so I'm going to hand over to Jason to introduce our first speaker. Whoa! Come on, Jason, give a round of applause.
Okay, this doesn't work, so we're going to go with that. Unfortunately, Dylan Collins, who was on our lineup, couldn't make it tonight. We posted in the Facebook group. He is stuck in London and couldn't get over a flight. However, we do have the amazing Sean O'Leary here, but it's actually Stephen O'Leary.
Stephen O'Leary, yeah.
So stand up there, Stephen. Stand up there, Stephen. As a wonderful replacement. Stephen did an amazing talk at the Web Summit. Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, and I was really impressed by it. So I reached out to him and kind of asked him would he present that for us today. He has an update, so it's been slightly changed and remixed a little bit. But what we're going to try and do is the talks are going to be about 20 minutes. Some of them are really epic talks. Thank you, Rob. It's pretty epic. It's a long deck. So we'll try and get it through it as quickly as we can. At the end of the night, what we're going to try and do is we sent out an email to everyone. There's a Halo voucher that everyone got. We're going to do a bit of an after party thing, but over in the Bull and Castle. So it's a bit of a trip to get everyone over there, but we'll try and coordinate that at the end of the event. And we're all going to try and hang out there for a little bit. So without further ado, we'll go straight to Stephen? Nick? Rob first. There you go. Cheers. Don't know where they got that picture from. I swear. So my name is Rob Kumsky. I've been working with Halo since 2012 as a EMEA marketing manager. I do have a lot of slides, but I promise I'll get through them as quickly as I can. So I'll go briefly through the Halo story for those of you that don't know much of it. Quick little video. So that's Halo in a nutshell. We're currently live in 17 cities across the globe, starting in London and quickly moving to Dublin in 2012, and expanding across the United States, mainly the East Coast, and
Canada, and even as far as Japan. We're now live in 20 plus Irish towns and cities. We started in Dublin, quickly moved to Corkland and Galway, and just this year we've expanded to some other of the bigger towns and cities in Ireland. Launched in 2011 by 3 taxi drivers and 3 tech entrepreneurs. Our first office was a boat on the Thames, which was interesting. And we've since moved to Somerset House in London. That's our HQ. Our driver founders and our tech founders, these guys came up with the concept of connecting people through smartphones, and they got in touch with these experienced entrepreneurs, and Halo was born. And we have some of the best investors in the business: Excel Partners, Wellington Partners, Atomico, and they've invested in other great startups like Foursquare and Twitter and Facebook. So we're in really, really good company there. We've got over 20,000 5-star reviews in the App Store, and we've over 50,000 drivers working across the world with Halo. Spot the Irish drivers on there. And Halo Hail is accepted everywhere in the world every 2 seconds. One of my favourite stats is we've done enough jobs to travel to the moon and back 57 times. So I guess today I just kind of wanted to talk briefly about our launch in Ireland in 2012, and from my perspective, how to build a brand that can sustain itself from launch, through the growth phases. I'm going to talk a bit about our digital strategy, social and CRM, and finish up with a little bit about our product. So our brand and our key objective before we launched was actually to create a distinctive brand identity for Halo. We wanted to do more than just launch a smartphone app. We wanted to build something that's going to live on for people, something that people will understand and have a global feel to the brand. We wanted to build awareness but also trust of the brand. It's really, really important for us as a taxi app, providing transport for people, putting them into cars with drivers. We wanted to give them that trust that what they were using was safe. And obviously we wanted to, within our first year, reach over 55,000 registered customers. So our first kind of campaign actually focused very heavily on the outdoor space, and some of you may have seen our sort of billboards, our transport links, restaurant and pub advertising, and we did some radio, the likes of the Metro Herald, some desktop. We even did some ambient outdoor projecting videos onto walls. All of this with the aim of building that awareness and trust for the brand. We also had a driver outreach strategy where we were advertising on the outdoor and on press, etc., for specifically getting in front of drivers and building that and giving them that sort of awareness of the brand, that we were ready to invest in it, that this was going to be big. And also, as a knock-on effect, it was something that the drivers were going to tell their passengers an awful lot about. I'm sure everyone's been told about Halo at least once by a taxi driver. Also, getting our sort of taxi advertising on cars, in the taxi space was so important. And actually, our post-awareness survey after our first campaign said that the most prominent awareness for, or most prominent advertising for our customers was on cab advertising and word of mouth through drivers. So after all the money we spent on outdoor, taxi drivers were the main place where people actually heard about the brand. We also ran some partnerships, partnering up with the likes of Drink Aware, the Jameson Dublin Film Festival. But what I wanted to finish on was, it doesn't matter how much you actually invest in the media channels. What really, what I feel worked so well for us was the visual identity and personality that we built from the brand from the word go. You can throw all the money that you want at these channels, but if you don't have something that can actually, that people can resonate with, that people enjoy, and that people sort of perceive your brand as, that was the most important element for us. So, in terms of brand, it's not, as I said, it's not about how much you spend on your advertising. A brand is a promise. It's a living, breathing entity. And for us, it was all about our visual identity, the tone and personality that we created, quality, providing a quality service, providing quality customer service, and most of all, the consistency. if we're meant to be across 17 cities, we want people to experience great Halo service in Ireland and feel that it's the same when they go to London, to Madrid, Barcelona, or as far as Japan. So after launch, I wanted to go into a bit of detail on what our pain points were. So certainly from an Irish perspective, we achieved a large amount of awareness. Lots of people downloaded the app, but we were seeing a drop-off from downloads through to registration. So all of these people that had the app on their phones but didn't have an account yet, that they didn't register for an account. But even for those that registered, the registration to the first Halo, the first job that they took, there was a drop-off. We needed to get more jobs from our active customers, and we were also churning customers. Every 3 or 4 months, there was a drop-off of customers. So I suppose this is all part of the maturing piece of a startup. You start this with a small office, you have a small team, and you kind of fly by the seat of your pants. And as we began to mature, we started to introduce our own sort of marketing KPIs. We built a small data scientist team, so really getting to grips with the data that we had at our disposal. And we focused heavily as a marketing team on our cost per registered user, driving that down as much as possible. Our jobs per registered user, increasing that. Our registered users, particularly the quality of the users that we were getting and the ones that we're paying good money for, we want users that we can guarantee will actually, be in need of a taxi and will, take jobs through the app. So in terms of our current marketing structure, brand sits above the function, and then we split ourselves by region in terms of EMEA and North America, and we've got a performance marketing function, we have a really important CRM function, we have our PR and social side, and then we're backed up by a data team. And we see our marketing function has been very much led by this customer lifecycle, from acquisition all the way through to recovery or reactivating a customer, someone that's gone dormant or that's left the service. And our channels being the performance, CRM, and social, permeating through each of those elements. So from an acquisition perspective, it's the registration. Then we're hitting them with CRM, they're nudged to first Halo, welcome to the service. Growth and retention, it's all about engaging them, rewarding them for using Halo. Advocacy, using our current base of customers to refer friends, that word of mouth piece. Reactivation, nudging people to use the service again if they've gone dormant, or what we call RASP, recovering a stranded passenger, somebody who's tried to hail and hasn't been successful and is getting pissed off with us. So what I believe to be important is not just growth, but it's the sustainable growth, and that's where the strength of brand and the sort of front-loaded investment in brand is so important. So if there's 3 things that you can take away from this talk, it's invest up front in your brand. It's in terms of digital, and I'll talk about this in a bit. It's be early and stay fresh. And from a social perspective, it's getting the right message to the right audience at the right moment. So from a digital perspective, we focus heavily on the acquisition piece. There's a little bit of digital that we put into the reactivation piece as well. Our digital strategy is split in 2. We've got our acquisition, which is mainly led by Facebook app install ads, promoted tweets with install links, or at the moment there's the beta testing of Twitter's mobile install ads, and some mobile app ads, in-app ads. But we also focus on paid social and engagement. Our Twitter promoted account has been really important in building a large community of users, and promoted tweets, which can lead to both engagement and installs of our app, and some Facebook fan acquisition. In terms of our creative, we've got our Facebook install ads, and focusing on being as local as possible. So obviously from Dublin, you've got the Halfpenny Bridge, and we're finding that people will engage when something is as relevant to them as possible. We've got our mobile display and the promoted tweets, which we'll go into a little bit later. from a digital perspective, the three most important things that we've found is particularly getting to grips with our acquisition tracking. So understanding, starting out as a young startup, we're acquiring users from everywhere, anywhere that we can get them, basically. And that has kind of gradually evolved to a point where we're using the likes of HasOffers, Mixpanel to really dig into the data, understand quality of the users, where the quality users are coming from, how much we're really paying for them, and what the lifetime value of those customers is. We also found that coming in early, using products like we were one of the first brands in Ireland in 2012 to start using promoted tweets and promoted accounts. Going in with that new media early, before fatigue sets in, before competitors start to drive up costs. And we've seen this in other cities like London, where the cost is dramatically higher than what we were seeing in the first couple of months in Ireland. And obviously, frequent, fresh creative is so important, particularly from an image perspective. And something that's hard for us is broadening the number of channels that we can test. So being a local brand, we're limited in what we can actually use and sort of costs that we can achieve. So that's something that we're constantly trying to do is broaden the number of channels that we can actually use. And from a social and CRM perspective, so CRM kind of is permeating through each of these stages, but I suppose where it's most important is that activation piece. So when somebody registers, that they're receiving a welcome email, that we're acknowledging that they've joined the service. Growth and retention, it's sort of rewarding these people where possible. Some of you may have received emails from Halo saying, thanks for doing X amount of jobs, or an email that I'll show you later is solely targeted people who will take trips to the airport. And then there's the reactivation piece, so where possible, sending emails to those that have maybe not taken a job in 2 or 3 months, and we're trying to get them back into the service. So as I said, for us, social, and for anyone, it should be about the right message to the right audience in the right moment. And it's something that we're sort of getting to grips with ourselves over time. Something I just wanted to put up there was, obviously we're all in the midst of the Garth Brooks stuff. So in terms of hitting people at the right moment, we hit people with a tweet the other day to say, we'll get you to your friends in high and low places. First 400 to use the code the dance get €5 off. And obviously there's a great reaction to that tweet, because people are seeing this, everyone's talking about it. We're looking for people to do work, people to put jobs through the system, and 400 codes at a €5 price point for us, that's not an awful lot of money for us to spend getting direct jobs where we might have put that $2,000 into something else entirely that's not going to directly benefit us. Another example, the Solstice weekend. These sort of in-the-moment tweets, being really reactive and on the ball with sending this sort of stuff out to your community, having previously built a community and having previously spent a lot of time working on the brand and getting the tone right. That's been the most, some of the most effective channels for us to achieve quick growth. Another piece that we did recently was we, getting into the data, understanding our users, and understanding, even something as silly as, who our users are. And we hit this on Facebook a couple of weeks back and rewarded people with the name Karen or Barry and gave them a €10 credit. And obviously we got a great reaction to that, and people telling their friends whose names were Karen, and we actually had a Karen Barry who was looking for €20. That's done really well for us. And from a CRM perspective, again, getting into the data and understanding, well, for example, not many people know that they can get a Halo from the airport. Many will get a Halo to the airport, but we wanted to increase how many people are actually getting one from the terminal. So digging into the data, understanding who's taking jobs to the airport, hitting them with a really nice email, rewarding them with €10 and suggesting, here's €10 for when you get back. Again, really great reaction, and providing awareness of something that they weren't already using. And again, the partnership side, using a well-known brand like JustEat.ie, we'll partner up regularly. We'll get a voucher for takeaway from Just Eat. We'll provide the credits and we'll reward our community on Facebook or on Twitter with a simple party. It costs very, very little, but gets that great engagement going. And finally, from a product perspective, there's so much within our app that we can do to really drive the brand home. We're constantly iterating on our in-app experience. I actually haven't included it here, but regularly we'll drop little Easter eggs, like we call our blue man here Barty, and sometimes we'll put a Christmas hat on Barty, or just little surprises in-app for people. Even something as simple as the tour that we've got in-app. So when you first register, you're asked to go through originally it was a 12-step process, and we were finding that the download to registration rate was actually quite, I think it was 30% download to registration rate, so there's a huge amount of wastage there. So we cut down our tour to 6 or 7 slides, and so a gradual uplift. And similarly, app updates. We got creative with our copy on the App Store for an app update, and found that people were really kind of pleasantly surprised and tweeting that Halo were getting nice and creative with this sort of thing. So to finish up on the Halo side, as I said earlier, the 3 key points I think to bring away from this: invest up front in your brand and let it permeate through every channel and everything that you do. From a digital perspective, we've found that being early and staying fresh with our creative and our approach has done great things for us. And from a social perspective, it's getting the right message to the right audience in the right moment. So that's it from the Halo side. I just wanted to finish by quickly talking about my next venture. This is something that I've been working on for a while, and I thought this was a good opportunity to get it out there. It's a startup called Prosper. It's a health app for smartphones. Just a little bit to understand the global health market, particularly the mobile health market. It's a 20.7 billion market by 2018, so this is a huge market for the next couple of years. 29.1 million people in the EU are obese, or will be obese by the year 2017, and they may use mobile health solutions regularly. But interestingly, Europe will be the biggest mobile health market by 2017, with a 6.9 billion market opportunity. So this is obviously a huge space. So what we realized in Prosper was that there's a real kind of problem there, that we all work hard, people aren't at their best, they're working really hard, they're focusing on work, they're focusing on getting to work, they're focusing on downloading from work, and they're not really focusing on things that, the most important things that matter in life. So what Prosper does is it helps people to realize their potential. We're giving people the tools that they need to become healthier, happier, and more productive. So what does that mean? We're connecting busy people with nutrition professionals through the smartphone. So to go into a bit of detail on the app itself, we connect you with an existing nutritionist that you're using or with a new nutritionist. We help you to track your food with a simple food picture diary, and we give you feedback from your nutritionist throughout the day on what you're eating. There's some simple data capture asking you about how your day is going, because everything that you eat, everything that you do throughout the day and how you feel is interlinked with what you're eating. And there's a community aspect. See what others around you are eating, and you're getting encouragement and hopefully some great recipes as well. Obviously, something else that we're working on is from an Android Wear perspective, using that sort of wearable technology to give you feedback on what you're eating and to sort of interact with you throughout the day. So we have 2 models. We're targeting nutritionists directly and giving them an app to use and sort of adding value to their current relationship with clients. And we're also connecting with consumers directly. So from a pricing perspective, we're going to be charging $4.99 per month for clients to use the service if they're connecting with a nutritionist. But we're also offering nutritionists sort of a gold or a platinum model where we'll give them dashboard, analytics, and CRM capabilities to really add value to their current relationship with their clients. So just to finish up, our team, it's myself, we've got a lead developer, Fabio, we've got a guy called Gary who's working on our business development side and he's actually a qualified nutritionist, and Dave working on the marketing and operations side. And we've got a great team of advisors helping us come out with some names that you'll probably recognise. So it's just a good opportunity to tell you a bit about that service. So that's it really. Thanks very much.
Come on, I'm not giving away that easy.
Uh-oh.
There. All right. So a few questions for Rob. I've got some.
You had a lot of panels there. So how did you actually where you need to? So whether it be personal or accounts and stuff, how do you decide basically that this is legal?
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose from the beginning, it was really kind of, trying stuff like a stick, trying as many channels as possible. From traditional platform, like traditional advertising, built the works radio is actually very hard to determine, but it's much more about trust, about awareness, and getting kind of visual concept. But obviously, gradually over time, we've invested much heavier in the performance market, digital channels, because we know where these how good they are, what we can drive down for us. So it sort of develops like a
I guess it was
yeah, very, very hard. And as soon as we scratch the best, that's it. I suppose a canned investment card that has the 5 times plus really, really important. And that's kind of what I said at the beginning that not kind of about spending that money just brand deal, which is like
Question? And the use of third-party
we actually built that so we have our own system to do that. So I think the time in the beginning was very primitive and we started things of limited direction, fire takes, hopefully that
So it's a custom platform. Custom platform. Okay. Any other questions?
Good question. I suppose mainly it's kind of customer registrations, marketing team is where those registrations come from. Particularly if it's a new market we're most interested. But one of the other things I suppose is where our customers are paying from. Many of those things stands actually work on our supply side. The worst thing is having service that isn't providing supply.
Okay, so your customer acquisition plan.
For me, yes. That's a good question as well. I mean, in Ireland, there was a real wonderful service. There's an oversupply of taxis in the Irish market. There'd been a couple of smartphone apps prior to Halo, and we had a slight hurdle there that they hadn't really succeeded, so drivers were a little bit iffy about that aspect. But from here, there was very few problems with it. But we did advertise and provide a lot of education. We train our drivers very, very well. We've got great team driver partners, ex-taxi drivers in our office and building, sort of the face of the brand for taxi drivers. And they've got great. I know the cities where there's a lesser supply, they don't need to service as much, and there's more challenges. But Ireland is a good market.
Alright, you've got a background in Adland, in big budgets, and you're in Halo, successful company.
Yeah.
So what do you want to spend your first 50 grand on?
I mean, I think you can't ignore the power of Facebook and stuff like that. So from customer acquisition perspective, that's basically something that we have to do.
Question?
I don't. I mean, certainly in the early days, we were able to lack of understanding of the Dublin market. One of our that's at the end of the year, obviously, I tried this to launch here. We would have level, but in retrospect, kind of investing as much as we did up front has given us the position of basic competitive result. The market, it gives us a much stronger position. Not just to defend ourselves, but actually defend so that's kind of thing. I see losses. And we weren't making losses. So, I mean, things went out of the expectation was low, and probably out of balance. Yeah. I mean, all I can speak from the behaviour perspective, so we really work with Dutch legislation and regulators and verify the rights in the right way and provide the service. And that's from UK, Spain, Ireland. It's not difficult in the States, but for us, that works really well.
So there's a question for us. Can you just talk a little bit about when you start doing
Corporates.
Yeah, we start to engage with some of the big partners.
I mean, we didn't really engage. I mean, we kind of came in and did our own thing. So, I mean, are you more talking from a business development perspective? Yeah, I mean, we just kind of relied on our own model, and we grew the business sort of ourselves. And I suppose gradually we've worked with smaller partners from an advertising perspective, but there wasn't much of stuff.
Okay, all right.
Round of applause. Okay, so next up we have Tristan. We said we'd do lightning talks this time around, so we wanted people to actually be able to come along and talk about something they're doing themselves. We opened it out. We had 3 people kind of approach us. One of them actually came out with a talk. So round of applause for Tristan. No idea what he's about to talk about, but round of applause.
Hey guys, Tristan. I work for a big company called Matrix Internet. We're a web development company just on Fair Street here. We recently started a venture in digital marketing. Why am I here today? So has everyone got a smartphone here? Everyone take it out? Try to connect to the Wi-Fi here. And anyone here for work? No? Basically, what I'm presenting here today is the Wi-Fi product. How many guys are here? 100 guys here today. We're passing through. We're all entrepreneurs. Some of us are anyway. Irish Times aren't collecting any of our information, valuable information that they could use to market to you guys, to tell you guys about stuff that they're doing, things that they're doing. So what we're finding with some of our customers that have they're not interacting with their customers coming in and out every day. They're finding it difficult connecting with these customers. The Wi-Fi is using paid here or clunky, so it was like people can't log in, times after 20 minutes. The shop gains nothing from the Wi-Fi. So if I do provide it, I provide it free. You're not getting anything from it. You're just providing the service. If something goes wrong, they come at you. So what do we provide, or what are we suggesting? We're suggesting a product called Purple Wi-Fi. Basically what Purple Wi-Fi is, you've got your Wi-Fi here. Turn off the web and we plug in Purple Wi-Fi as another router. Basically what happens then is when someone goes to log in, they see a splash page similar to this, where they have options to log in through social media, Facebook and write on their own Facebook if they wish. They can follow you on Twitter. They can add in they can fill out a form which gives you their email address, which gives you demographic information, which is highly valuable to anyone. So what we're saying is give reliable, secure Wi-Fi. Yes, that's fair enough. Give the Wi-Fi. Make the Wi-Fi easy to access. You know, if it's easy to access, people will do it. Like Halo. I got addicted to Halo last week. Started doing it, ordering Halo taxis all over the place. It's just so easy. So collect the demographic information. Don't just give away for free. You're getting stuff that they're giving you, pretty much for free. So it's pretty handy. And people pay with their demographic information. You get a great analytics package on the background. It tells you all about their gender, their age, their name, and even if they log in through social media, it takes that information from Facebook. It gives you your email address, especially if they log in through the form, which is great because you can use that for email marketing. You can use it for like targeting on Facebook, which is great. And social media info, phone number you can ask for as well, and so much more. And many fields, which is great. So it's a beta product at the moment, and we've got a few small things that we want to get over. We tested it at a company called Bakers. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. It's a cafe shop there on Grand Canal Dock. And we got an okay reaction. So what were their goals? They were looking to connect with their customers coming in store. They obviously realised that when there were people in store, they were just connected to Wi-Fi, and that was it. They weren't getting anything from them. They were coming, drinking coffee, leaving. We wanted to provide guest service, the free Wi-Fi. They wanted to provide the Wi-Fi for people, and they wanted to start building followers among their regular customers. We want to get to know these people without going actually asking them. So what we found when we installed it after week one, it wasn't a huge uptake. It's not that big, like I said, it's a small cafe shop. We started at about 150 and finished off by nearly double the Facebook likes in the first month. We weren't really advertising it, it was just kind of there. People got on, got onto Wi-Fi like on Facebook. Twitter followers were similar. You kind of started about 120 and got up to about 220. So again, you're talking that's 200 people already. And then over the whole week, there was about 100 people, a whole month, sorry, about 100 people signing up on the form. All of that gave the information to Bakers now. I've set up a loyalty scheme, so we can email them about different coffees that they're offering, different services, and actually in the Donegal tour we're going to be installing it, and they're going to be serving dinner there, and people don't know about this stuff, so put it on the Facebook, which generally sometimes we find Facebook followers and Twitter followers aren't targeted enough. These are people who have been in store, so you can actually target these people, which is a really great thing. So, it's very small at the moment. We're talking with a couple of retail chains like BB's. We're talking to a lot of hotel groups that are very want to target staying and the conference and everything. They're trying to listen because how many people care information. So, like I said, it's a beta product at the moment, but it will eventually become and we basically were trying to demo it. And yeah, basically want to get right first. We don't want to go back to 10 hotel or we would have an idea. There's a door. Like I said, the problem is that we've got a demo going on and we're actually looking at people. We're talking to another company where they want to put into a bus and they want to go around with the Wi-Fi and let people information. So they're selling an app. They're selling an app, and basically what they're doing is they go around the bus, like a load of buzz going on. They have the Wi-Fi around the bus, plug into a USB dongle, collect all that information. Now, some people might download the app just to people. Those people's information is still targeted. They were interested enough to download it in the first place. log in or go near the place and log into Wi-Fi. So they must have been interested. So they've not the information to those people, so it's not lost. It's all about information. You know, when it,
All that information.
I think in terms of privacy, we've not seen saying, you know, but yes, I'd say first answer yes, they in, but second I would say it's security to the their own privacy policy, like they're doing it reflecting on their own website. Have kind of policy in place to say that they're not going to sell it to us. It's like if anyone on the website have a privacy policy. No, cash is fine. Leads, just trying to get it to as many people as possible. Great product. You've seen it on a small scale here. Once it gets to a massive scale, you'll see the amount of data that people can collect and use. A lot more targeted markets. So it's really leads that we're trying to get to, approach people in high places as well. You know, people that know, we want to find people that have the decision to make this decision. Try it in one of their tests. Try it in one of their coffee shops. Try and start it. See what happens. Because with, for example, Bitbuzz, you're not collecting the information. Bitbuzz is not that, or you're not getting it. If you can target these people with special deals you're doing on the value offer, so that would be easy.
In terms of how do you defend this?
Alright, so it's something you definitely think about. Of course, and I think it's something that we push by the community.
On that note, guys, round of applause, all right?
Okay, so we ran a bit of a competition. So we've been trying to growth hacker events. It seems to be kind of working okay, I think. I'm not too sure. But we ran a competition on our Facebook group. So if you're not on the Facebook group, it's a private group. Just sign up. You get all the kind of updates. You get all the presentations from the speakers today. There's videos, all that kind of stuff. It's our kind of communication channel. Email kind of sucks sometimes, so it's a good alternative to that. So we ran a competition. The idea was we were basically saying refer people, refer your friends. We have a prize of a lifetime subscription from the guys from growthhacker.tv. So they produce amazing content. They do some amazing video. It's premium kind of stuff. So to announce the winner, Bob Boyles over there, who's been helping us out today as well. Has won that prize, so thanks very much, Bob. I think there's one other prize as well that James has talked about too.
So we have one other lifetime subscription to Growth Hacker. Awesome resource, like basically good marketing stuff you do. Top interviews with all the top guys, Sean Ellis. We also have these really cool actionable plans, action plans we can do. So it's an awesome prize. And all you have to do to win it this evening is one of the best questions from two speakers. So if you want the best question, you're going to win that prize. We have a few questions on the board over here already. So the board is kind of for needs, but I like the questions that are coming in. Some people were looking for, how do you build community, for example. But the question I like most from winning is any recommendations for how to build a new startup on a small budget. Someone after my own heart. So who gave me that question?
This guy over here.
Okay, well done. Okay, what's your name? Mark. You are only in a position where you can lose now, because if someone else has a better question, then you lose your prize, right? So that's the way you have to be. Okay, so one more thing, a couple more needs on the board. We have Simon. Simon, where are you? So Simon's been an awesome volunteer. He's been helping us fill this room here tonight and helping out the front door as well. He's looking for a job, right? In both digital marketing, both sides of the space. Right. Obviously, the room is full, because that's his own testimonial. Now, I have some interesting ones here. So I have someone who has, I have to explain this, 5,000 plus US and Australian leaders who have previously rented an apartment in Paris. Who's that guy? That's him. What have you got? Blog or what? Blog.
Yeah,
Okay, is this 5,000 per month or 5 million? Okay, that's very cool. Okay, that's very valuable. So 5,000 people who travel to Paris, very likely to go again. And you're looking for some growth hack or joint venture here, and not maybe Halo could do something. Right? So that's cool. We'll talk more about after this. What else do we have? We have Bing. Bing, who used to be Easy Talkers, Michael. Alright.
Make him stand up. Stand up for a second. Just make yourself known.
So these guys want to stand up and say what you're looking for. Awesome. And then finally, a kind of a controversial question. Someone is being sold online. They're having to deal with real bad online feedback. Does anyone know where you have to? Who's giving me that question? Barry? Okay, stand for a second. Awesome, cool. So you're looking for advice on how to deal with bad online feedback. We'll have a point afterwards, because I can definitely talk to you about it. Say again?
Well, where's it happening? Is it happening like on Twitter? Only on Twitter. Okay.
And have you done something really bad, or what?
Interesting. And does the brand have a strong presence, or okay, so they have a bit of a following?
Tell you what I do. Someone really goes nuclear online, get on the phone with them. And you might have the phone number, you might not, and it might not be possible at scale. But if you have someone who's really vociferous, I would really ring up and just try and get a conversation going. And you'd be amazed how it does two things. Gives you a chance to really identify what the problems are and tease it out. And maybe you have done something really wrong. Maybe you really need to apologize. And what I normally go in, I get on the phone with them if I can. I say, listen, first off, I'm really sorry. Before I do anything else, here's a refund. Here's €200. Here's everything. Just like just lie in front of them. Just be vulnerable, and then ask them what the problem is. I would guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, they'll be a fan by the end. It's very, very hard. It's very easy to go mental online, but if you can get in contact with them personally, it's a lot harder for them to maintain that vitriol. It could go wrong, of course, but that's what I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So my suggestion is something different. So I had a bit of a framework with the brand once, and it's something that I'm not going to do. And so my advice would be more to find advocates in your favor. So if there's not a lot of substance behind what they're saying, try and find advocates with substance that can kind of back up, what the positive message that you're trying to give out. Try and acknowledge it first of all, and try and do a bit of rolling over if it's fair. But if it's not fair, then try and find people who will be advocates for you. People who have been the ones who tweeted you, the ones who have kind of bigged up your product in the past, and try and engage with those guys and get them to spread the positive message. Because sometimes the only way to get around the negative message is to come out more positive, and then it just balances out, So, or you cut communication, you cut ties, and just ignore it. But that never works. Right? Thank you. Okay, so next up, are we well done? Well done. Anyone else looking for anything? Just no? Shout out there. Okay, so next up we have Stephen O'Leary from Olytico. Stephen used to have a company called O'Leary Analytics. He rebranded to Olytico a year ago? About a year ago. So Stephen has a really interesting presentation. He's going to be kind of talking about listening online and then putting that into practical uses. So I'll hand you over to Stephen.
Very much. So I understand that this evening's event is all about growth and growth hacking, and this is probably, maybe this is aimed at people who are at the very start of the growth phase. Maybe it's people who are thinking about setting up, starting a new business, and hopefully over the next 15 odd minutes, 15, 20, you'll get some inspiration and hopefully a couple of smiles too. So I work for a company called Olytico, and essentially we listen to an awful lot of conversation online. We're a social media monitoring and analysis company. So we tell our clients what's being said about them online. And most of our clients want to know these things. They want to know if they're loved or hated. So we heard about the trolling, and there's lots of hate online. There's also loads of love. Loads of people say really nice things about things like Halo. Does anyone know who this is? Ford, yeah, good work. So this is Henry Ford, and Ford was I suppose, a genius, really, and for a number of reasons. But one of the quotes, and he's got loads of great quotes, that I like the best is, if I'd asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. And Ford's genius was to know that they didn't want a faster horse, they just wanted to travel faster. So he gave them a mechanical horse. And it changed the world. And one of the problems with customer feedback is that when you ask people what they want, when you prompt the question, people aren't always honest with you. They might try to be honest with you, but they're often thinking one thing, and lots of things influence what they say. So if they've had a drink or two, if you're running something with pizza and beers, they might sort of say nicer things to you in a room if they're looking for feedback. If there's a very dominant person in the room, there might be issues with that. So there's a lot to be said for traditional market research, but what gets really interesting is when you stop asking questions and start listening to what people are already asking. So about 2.5 years ago, prior to the Dublin Web Summit, we were thinking in the office about things that we could look at, things that would be interesting, beyond just brands and conversations online. And we started tracking the following phrases. About sort of 2 or 3 months prior to the summit, we started doing this. So things like, I wish someone invented. If only there was a way to. Will someone please create? Will someone please build? And we took in total 10 phrases in or around this. And we've now been tracking them for over 2 years. So we didn't stop. We got great crack, and we had really good fun at the summit with what we found. So we just kept it going. So we've been storing all this information, and we're up. Probably in terms of clean data, we've got over 250,000 results now. So we have a fairly decent stack of what it is people actually online over the last couple of years have asked for. And what we're going to talk about today is not just what they're asking for, but maybe even over the last couple of years, what's changed. Because people have started listening and started answering the questions and building the products that people want based on what they're talking about. So here's what we found. Please invent is the first phrase we're going to start with. And when we started this process, we had very few clients and loads of time. So we did loads of this manually. And I'm sure anyone who's at the startup phase will realize that that's often what happens. You've got loads of time to pump into it. And we found gems like this. Could somebody please invent some sort of sensor to let you know there's a bloody tissue in the washing machine? Now again, I'm sure this is something a lot of you can empathize with. You know, you get to the washing machine and there's just this sea of white on the screen, and you know that the worst thing is that you can't just give it one more wash. For some reason, that it'll wipe it, take 4 or 5 washes to get out. But how great would it be if Nikki in Victoria in Australia was able to press a button on her Sunusi washing machine, and it would tell her whether or not there were issues at the top. But we realized quickly, as we got more clients and less time, that doing this on a manual basis, going through these one by one, wasn't really sustainable, especially when we started looking at the numbers. So we dumped all the results for each of the phrases into a machine that picked out the most commonly occurring words. And we started building wordlets. So in 2012, for please invent, this is what we found. And we take out the phrase please invent, and this is what we're left with. So you see a pattern here, and it's dear and companies and cell phone, and this was the reason it was so big. Dear mobile phone companies, please invent an unsend by text option. So this is a parody account of Alan Garner, some of you may recognize from some very well-known movies, and at the time he had about 860,000 followers. That's well over 1 million now. So when he says something funny online, a lot of people retweet it. But what was interesting for us was the times people retweeted it. So we saw spikes on Saturday nights and Sunday mornings when regret really started kicking in. Anyone here use Gmail? Has anyone ever had the need to use their recall option? Does everyone know they give you a 10-second window after you've sent your email? They don't actually send it instantly. They hold on to it. So if you click send and the person you're thinking about or writing about you've actually put in the address bar, you can grab it back. And how cool would it be if there was one of those for text messages? Click send, or you do it drunkenly on a Saturday night or Sunday morning, and imagine you could bring it back. So in 2014, when we re-looked at the data, we found lots of similar stories coming through. And it's not that people still want this, I mean they do, we know that, but people were robbing the jokes. So not Will Ferrell started robbing jokes from other parody accounts from earlier. Dear cell phone companies, please invent an unsend by text option. 742 retweets, so if it ain't broke. That's what you start coming through. And what we found was that when we removed the big things, like that, there were really interesting things around that. So scientists was a great word for us. People associate invention with scientists. If I was trying to encourage kids to study science right now, this is the kind of thing that I would be showing them. You don't want to be a scientist, you want to be an inventor. You can actually invent things that people want. Lots of people asked whether you're listening. So that's another thing we know starting to come through. People actually realized that people were listening to what they said. Is anybody listening? Will someone please invent? And then there was an extension. But the two interesting words for us were windshield and music, and anyone who's maybe seen this presentation before will know what's coming up. So in 2012, Scott Elliott, someone please invent a windshield wiper that doesn't get pine needles and leaves stuck in it. This is something that Scandinavian car manufacturers are working very hard on. Linda Meehan in 2014, can someone please invent driver window wipers? They'd be kind of handy, because you know when your driver window gets wet, you've got to roll it down typically to clear it off, and if it's still raining you get wet. It's a bit of a mess. Imagine if there was just a wiper there that kind of went like that to the side of you. That could be really handy. Shannon Zimmerman, can someone please invent windshield wipers for glasses when it's raining? Probably less practical and probably not going to be built. But the reason that windshield wipers and music came together was because of Noah Beale, who at the time was involved in the X Factor in the UK. Can someone please invent windshield wipers that wipe in time with the music you're listening to? Now this is a thing. So Noah is important because he plays drums and the space guitar, which is an interesting combination of things. And he's followed by influential people. And this tweet was retweeted 250 times, which is why we saw those two words appear in the word cloud. But there's a group on Facebook where if this has happened to you, you can join it. So windscreen wipers being in time with the music. And we could have thought maybe you approach this in another way. Instead of trying to come up with music that matches, or windscreen wipers that match the music, what if you reverse engineer it? What if there was an app on your phone that was preloaded with 100 windscreen wiper settings for every major car manufacturer in the world, and when the rain came on and you changed your setting, you could press a button on your phone and it would auto-find the song that had the right beats per minute to just match it, and you could knock yourself out. In 2012, dear makers of PT Tips, can you please invent a patch so that my body can be constantly fed your wonderful products? Thank you, and we liked this idea. You know, imagine going into a house and the Irish mammy comes out and says, you know, would you like a cup of tea? And you say, no, I'm not a patches. You know, I like the idea of that happening. And of course, by 2014, it happened. I was thinking, I wish someone made caffeine in a patch. And then I searched online and found that product on Amazon. Thanks again, Jeff. And it's there. Caffeine Land. Caffeine energy patches. Now you can get tea in a patch. And I wonder, back in 2012, was there someone searching for an idea who kind of went, I can do that. I can make tea in a patch. And I'm going to sell it on Amazon. Can someone please invent the opposite of a microwave? I need my beer cold now and know the freezer is not fast enough. Again, I think we often use the freezer in these situations. So you get home, it's a Friday evening, it's warm, it's the summer. We actually get a nice week. And you take your beer and it's not really cold enough, so you put it in the freezer. But the problem is you don't take it out 5 minutes later. You remember it 50 minutes later. And that's a disaster. Dear scientists of Earth, please invent the lightsaber already. Sincerely, everyone. So this probably isn't going to happen, but there's an awful lot of people who want it. So if you do have the means, there's a few, 1,178 people definitely will buy a lightsaber from you. Dear Internet, can someone please invent a heated mouse? My right hand is constantly cold while my left is clamped around a cuppa. So this was early February. Rowena Neville sent this out. And what was interesting was that, again, it exists. This is the 7 Weapons USB Warm Winter Mousepad with wrist guard, and this is the puppy style, but we do these in elephants, and we do them in various other animals too, so if you don't like puppies, it's not the end of the world. But it's there. So imagine if you were listening to this. Imagine if you were listening online, and you kind of said, I can do that. I can make something for that. And someone did. They invented it. What's very interesting is if you click on this, customers who view this item also viewed. You get some really weird stuff then. This is probably before the watershed, so I can't. Can someone please invent an airport outlet finder app? I need to recharge. Again, when I talked about this in 2012, lots of people went, yes. There are loads of apps that tell me where the Wi-Fi is, but there's very few who tell me where there are plugs. And I've got constant Wi-Fi, but my device is losing charge. And someone came up with it. There's an app now, Plug Finder. And it's crowdsourced. So if you find a plug at an airport, you take a photograph, you geotag it, and then the next person who visits the airport can find the app and find where the plug is. Really simple. And I wonder, this was created, so this tweet was 21st of May 2012. This was released March 2013. Was there someone who was starting to track this phrase, I wish someone invented, and said, I can build that. That's easy to do. And it's in the utilities category. Okay, so I wish someone invented. This was our next phrase. And again, we did the same thing with word clouds, and we got some interesting things. So coffee came through, and this is probably something that a lot of people in Ireland can appreciate. There's been an explosion in coffee shops in Dublin over the last 3 or 4 years. It seems to be that there is a new one opening all the time, and we've developed this real appreciation for good coffee. But we're really bad at making lids. Can someone please invent a takeaway coffee cup lid that never leaks ever? And probably my favorite hashtag of the presentation in this day and age. I mean, this is a serious problem. And why is that so difficult? Why is it so difficult to make a good coffee cup top? It shouldn't be. That's something that could definitely be built. Other words we found in here that were interesting was water. So a lot of people talked about this. And one of the interesting things for us was I wish someone invented a waterproof iPod or something so you could listen to music while swimming. That exists. You can buy underwater audio, waterproof iPod and swimsuit bundle, so you can wrap it up. Now, if I'm this company, Underwater Audio, I have to be tracking for these keywords in conversation. If I'm not, I'm losing customers. People are asking for the product, so they don't know Underwater Audio's Twitter handle, but they want to buy the product that they sell. So you have to be listening to what is going on there. Other interesting words here was cold, and this was probably where things got a little bit weird for us when we searched in 2012, because we linked it with this word, pillow. This is a big thing. Wish someone invented a pillow that stayed cold all night. I wish someone invented a pillow that always has a cold side. I would love if someone invented a pillow that always had a cool side. Imagine if someone invented a pillow that stayed cold forever. Why hasn't someone invented a permanently cold pillow? Has someone invented a pillow that doesn't get warm and stays cold? Because they should. They'd get so much money from the ever-modest Zoe Thompson. This is August 2012. So what's the good news? Well, that would be great news, but I reckon she came up with the name because I love this, the Chillo. There is a permanently cold pillow you can buy, right? And there's a lovely light-hearted element to this story. But I gave a variation in this presentation prior to the Chillo at a talk maybe 2 years ago, and someone came up to me in the audience afterwards and they said that a friend of theirs had leukemia. And apparently one of the side effects of the treatment is that your head and your face gets really, really hot, and it's very hard to regulate the temperature. So a permanently cold pillow is an extremely valuable thing if you're going through certain types of therapy. And now you can actually buy it. You can buy a Chillo. So as much as it's nice for all the lighthearted people on Twitter, there's actually a real medical benefit. Okay, I wish someone made. How are we doing for time? Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. So I wish someone made. Smell is probably one of the interesting words we found here. I love the smell of bonfire smoke. I wish someone made a scented candle that could mimic it. And of course, again, captivating candles, campfire smoke scented candle, 8 ounces, is available on Amazon.com. Or, as Chris said, they do what's called. Joshua, I wish someone made a drink that tastes like the smell of Lenore. Now, Joshua is one of those people that we worry about online, because Joshua strikes me as the kind of person that after a while kind of says, well, I've given up waiting for this product, I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens. Will someone, he's the reason that on the side of the packet it says, please do not drink. No matter how good the smell is, please do not drink. Will someone please create a bought it checkbox for retargeted ads? I'd love one of these. I actually like the advertising I'm usually served with online. I think it's getting an awful lot better. I can start getting ads now that are really specific to me. And I find that actually much better than the random ads I used to get. What pisses me off is when I buy the product and they keep targeting me. Because I do what loads of people do. I do all my research online. I go to the shopping cart, I put it in there, I wait a while, I get my discount vouchers, and then I usually end up calling them anyway because I think I'll get a better deal. And the internet doesn't know this. So for 6 months after buying the product, I still get the ads. Why isn't there a box that lets me tell people I've bought it, they stop selling it? Things got a little bit soppy too at times during this. So we found love stories. A lot of people came out of movies and said, why has no one made a movie like that about me? I want a love story like that made about me. That actually came through. But what's interesting and what was actually actionable was the idea of apps. So again, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the room who in one way or another are involved with building apps. So Christine Bowen, yo, could someone please invent an app that shows where all the bike racks in Dublin are? And maybe if there's spaces too, if that's okay. Now there is a Dublin Bikes app. In fact, I think there's a couple of them. But maybe they're not doing what they should be doing. Maybe they're not providing the type of information they want, or maybe they're just not good enough. So someone wants something, and that's what they're asking for. Nicholas Teague, someone please create the app so that every time I see a quoted economic data point, I can easily link to the historical trend line. Go. Now, Nicholas's tweet from back in March 2012 got no retweets, no one replied to him, and it wasn't favorable. Right? And Nicholas isn't really that big a deal. So, Gatorwatt, following the power generation, tweeting mostly about other stuff. He's only got 140 followers. It's never been retweeted. This is the kind of one that you skim over, that you don't look at because there's no value. But Nicholas gives us information. He's got a LinkedIn account. We take one step further, and we find that Nicholas works in the marketing department for wind power services at Siemens Energy. And that changes everything for me. Because I'm a young app developer, and I'm trying to come up with an idea, and I kind of go, I could do that. I could build that app. But why bother building it for this guy Nicholas, who's got no followers and no one's really asking for it? Well, because Nicholas works now at Siemens Energy. And imagine if you build that app for Nicholas and say, look, I did that thing you wanted, here it is. What other apps could you build for Siemens? What doors would that open? What opportunities could be there? Connor Hartley, someone please create an app that allows me to boil a kettle from a different room. That was back in 2012. That's a reality now. The Internet of Things has just made that the way it is. Now you can control your plugs from other rooms. Why has no one invented a see-through toaster yet so you can see exactly how toasted your toast is getting? Charcoal for breakfast. Probably number 2 on our list of top favorite hashtags that we've looked at. Really annoying stuff. But of course it exists. The Magimix by Robot Coupe version toaster. Now this is probably one of the deluxe lines, $249.95. That's a lot of money. But there are cheaper ones online that you can buy too. And no more burnt toast. You wait till it's that perfect color, you press the button and it pops. Someone please create an iPhone app that lets you control the Cavi stereo. Now this is not a plug, okay? But I have given this talk, or variations in this talk before. And at the time when I first spoke around this area, Halo was new. And I loved it, and my accountant hates it, because I spend far more on taxis now than I ever did before. But he likes the fact that I don't give him a shoebox full of receipts. He just gets a printout and gives out to me for trying to expense things that are personal when they're really business. But how cool would it be on your app if next to the button at the bottom that said pay by card or pay by cash, that there was a controlled happy stereo button, so that at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night on your way home, you didn't have to listen to the Adrian Kennedy Funk Show, and instead you could turn on Lyric and kind of soothe the evening away. So to conclude, every day online, around the world on social networks, people are asking for faster horses. It is your opportunity and your challenge to create the mechanical horses for people. Thank you. Yeah. Companies, our clients have. So we're seeing a real change in what our clients are searching for. It began by searching for themselves a couple of years ago, maybe even longer. And then they started to introduce their competitors into the search set. That's what they were looking for as well. But we're seeing a real shift now towards searching for phrases related to what they do. Because the idea of going out and approaching somebody who has asked for a product, I think, has transitioned from being maybe very intrusive to being acceptable to an extent, particularly if you get your tone right. So I think that from a business development point of view, that's certainly what some of our clients are doing. And I mean, within the business, we obviously track for anyone who talks about social media management, social media analysis. And whenever they say, I wish someone did, or I would like, we pick that up. So.
Any more questions?
Yeah, so, well, we use relatively expensive bespoke software that allows us to put in lots of parameters on what we search for. So we can search geographically, which is a very big thing for a lot of our clients. A lot of them only want to look at Ireland, they don't want to look at the world. And there are other things that you can do to refine the information that comes through. But there are also lots of free tools for anyone who's in a startup position or maybe is in a small business that doesn't have a budget for something like this. So if you get creative, Twitter has an advanced search function which allows you to use Boolean logic, which is, again, just very simple connecting of words. It also allows you to refine your searches geographically, which is okay. It's not perfect, it's not bad. Google Alerts are a really handy thing for blogging around this. People on blogs regularly say, I wish someone did, or I wish someone made. So there are lots of free tools that you can use. Typically, the way is, the cheaper the tool, the more time it takes to do it. So it depends on what you have. If you have money, you tend to sort of come to someone like us or buy a bit of software. If you have time, then there are loads of tools that you can use instead. So.
Question over
It's interesting that relative shows keywords actually know the real relevance to meaning. So I think you're looking
Sure.
for it became to.
Yeah.
Are people looking for meaning? Can you tell meaning like that, or is it just
You can, but that tends to be a very manual part of our job. There are two things that make our job difficult: sentiment analysis and meaning. And we've probably tested in or around 150 to 200 pieces of software because there are thousands in the marketplace for sentiment analysis capability. And we're yet to find anything that delivers on the promises of their neighbors. Loads of people promise 70, 80, 90% accuracy, and it simply doesn't exist. So that's the massive pain point for us, and it's where we're spending a lot of time now with data scientists trying to fix that, just for us, not even for the world, but just for a handful of clients that we work with. Meaning, we feel, has to almost come from the analyst. Now, creating a word cloud like that helps because it's the first step, but it's very hard to take meaning from the word cloud alone. You have to drill into the words, see whether they have a correlation. Because sometimes they are relevant. You're right, a lot of the time they're not. And if you make a decision purely based on the most commonly occurring words, you can get real false signals. So, like for us, I don't think we will ever become a business where we can get rid of all our staff and just have software. And the business was really set up because of that. We felt that there was a need for storytellers, really. We have this information, we need to be able to tell a story. And like you say, meaning is probably the best word.
Software that you developed, or just
there's two sides to it. So we license software. So there are players in the market. A lot of you may be familiar with a company called Radiant 6. They tend to be sort of one of the very big players in social media monitoring. We don't work with them, but we license 3 pieces of software from providers very similar to them. And we use them to aggregate to find the information. And then we started to build our own in-house custom tools to actually analyze it, to make sense of it. Sure.
Or are you away from that? For a company that I can go online and in 5 minutes I've got an account, what do I like? Analyze and then build invest
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, there are 2 things we do. We do real-time information. We have a dashboard, and we worked with a guy called James Eggers, who Intercom unfortunately poached and brought to San Francisco in the summer. He's unbelievably talented developer, just finishing first year at Greenfield. We started working with him when he was in 5th year of school. And he said to us, he came in for a few weeks as an intern, and he said, you know, you can start to make this available in a really simple dashboard. And we had thought about it, but we didn't know how easy it would do it. So over the last 18 months, we've been working on developing a really pared down dashboard. What we found was our clients didn't want loads and noise, they just wanted very few things. So the real-time stuff we can have set up in an hour. And our biggest clients, the utility players and the banks and things like that, use that to track in real time. The analytics side, the end of week, end of month, end of quarter, end of year, is still very manual heavy because we don't give the presentation as a PDF and we don't email it to you. We present it in person. So an analyst actually comes in, we sit you down, and sometimes you can have 10 or 15 people from the business, and we present it a bit like this, and then you interrogate the data. And for us at the moment, we don't see that being replaced by a software solution. I think the value comes from actually this, the conversation. Then you can ask the questions of it, and that's when you get meaning. Someone says, why is that word in the word clip? It doesn't make any sense. You can have them.
Okay, we'll have one more question.
Okay. Yeah.
What is your normalization process? It's a lot of data, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to pick up.
How do you clean up the code?
Oh, how do we get rid of the junk? Yeah. A lot of it comes from just experience. So like over time, so we work with a mobile phone operator in Ireland who's got a very generic name, and that doesn't really refine it down. But this mobile phone operator gets an awful lot of mentions of what would be their brand, completely unrelated to them because the term is generic. So what you do over time is you learn what these exclusion words are. You learn who individuals who talk about the product or service but aren't really talking about it. And you start to just refine, and it gets better and better and better. But again, there's always an element of manual filtering. So our team look at a lot of data every day, and there's still a lot of just tick boxing, categorization. We're yet to find a way to get past.
So you want machine learning processing.
We've just got that right, and we've only got it right for one client. So we've spent the last year working with 2 data scientists on machine learning, and the idea, what we found was that everyone at the moment is trying to solve the problem. Well, a lot of companies are trying to solve the problem of scientific analysis. Big problem. And huge players, Microsoft, SAP, all the big players in the world are pumping millions, tens of millions into it. And we knew we couldn't compete. We knew we couldn't go up against them. We didn't have the resources or anything like that. So instead we pared it down, and instead of looking at even a single network like Twitter or Facebook, or looking at a single country like Ireland, or even an industry, we said, could we do them for an individual client? We took our biggest client, and we took data we had manually analyzed for the last 3.5 years. That's literally where an analyst has said, positive, negative, positive, negative. So we knew the data was clean. We had about a similar number, about 250,000 results over the 3 years for the client. And we've been training the machine. And we've got it to, and don't maybe hold me to this yet for anyone else, but we've got it to an 80% accuracy level. And the best thing for us is that every other tool we've used, when it doesn't know, so that even if they got to 80, that other 20 just gets pushed into neutral. That's what happens when it doesn't know, it defaults to neutral. And what we've managed to do is the machine, instead of defaulting to neutral, gives it back to us. So what the analyst does is it cuts the analyst's time by 80%, but they still get the 20% the machine doesn't know, and they tag that. then they give it back to the machine mines a little more. So if we got to 81 by the end of the year, or 82%, that would be huge. But for us, that's been probably the biggest breakthrough since the start. Sorry.
We'll catch up later on. So round of applause for Steve.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have one more section of asking questions.
Someone on a low budget, what's the secret penetrating the Irish market side of the network? Bill,
I can explain.
Yeah.
So I work for a recruiting agency based out of San Francisco, and we specialize in technology startups, so we've helped build the New Relics and the Apples in the United States, and so we're helping bring companies to Dublin. We've got that covered. How do we penetrate the Irish market and get the Irish to us?
Are you trying to build trust for recruiting?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just penetrating the market, besides building relationships and networking, what's kind of just...
But in terms of building relationships, I guess that's what your business is, though. It's really relationships. But what kind of activity do you have on the ground, like for networking and events? And because, like, say for developers, it's always a big deal. But like tonight, we're going to go merge with an event that's probably maybe it's a patch of cultures, but there's going to be a lot of developers there. So it's probably nice to have a lot of marketing people and developers and kind of merge them together. Maybe something will happen. But like those kind of things. Like, what kind of stuff do you do already in that?
Yeah, so I mean, we do a load of stuff in the United States, and we're kind of trying to replicate that model here. We're hosting an event, a sales hacker event, we're partnering with numerous thought leaders and CEOs here in the area. So that's the kind of stuff we're wanting to do. Nothing to do with recruiting, just bringing people together and getting thoughts and helping companies run.
You should definitely sponsor our next event.
No,
it's a very actionable thing to do.
Absolutely, we definitely are up to that.
There are some interesting ones, like there's like co-working spaces all over the place. Like one of the things you kind of find with co-working spaces is a lot of companies or individuals go into a co-working space before they ever set up a startup or do any of those things. But there's a huge failure rate, and you'd be very surprised, like a recruitment company that would encourage something like a co-working space in somewhere like Dublin. You're almost like building a place where people will naturally come and hang out, and like that could be really interesting. Like if that was part of your strategy to be in with the community, is actually create a space in your offices and kind of say that's just yours. Come in, you can kind of work from there, do whatever. You kind of have that flow of people then that kind of naturally, come through your system. And there's going to be a high dropout rate, and you could probably pick them up, place them in jobs. So I know it's a bit sneaky, but that's the trick. Okay.
One more question here. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Bios for the wide angle video.
No pressure.
Growth hacker. It's actually the first growth hacker to come along with the thing and look at John, tell us, what's your ideal plan?
You only have 30 seconds.
My ideal plan of a small team would be I need to sales money, or I need to improve my conversion. One of the ways early solution of training your team that scale
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. Okay, so last up we have Mick from Mick's Garage. Over here. Yeah, so click so. Can you do it? That's working. Yeah.
Okay, thanks everybody for listening. I'm Michael Crean, mixgarage.com. I'm the founder, IT, operations manager, and everything else in between. I suppose just to give you a bit of a background on where the business came from, I worked in the auto industry for a couple of years. I went to Australia with my wife, well now my wife, and came back and I was unemployed in 2003, so I said, okay, what do we do here? So I was unemployed. I was sitting in my parents' house in Mayo, and I said, "What do we do?" I said, "Right, I know a little bit about the automotive industry. I know even less about computers. So I got to try and set up an e-commerce system to sell power products." The idea wasn't to set up a business. The idea was to actually to learn the IT technology that set up an e-commerce system so I could get back into it. That's where it came from. So it slowly ballooned from there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that again. At the moment, as I said, our IT systems architect, software developer, operations manager. I'm involved in all aspects of the business. As any entrepreneur knows, you're involved in absolutely everything. Involved in warehousing, marketing, customer service, VoIP systems, management, IT, fraud control, and everything else. Technology, marketing, innovation, and process really are my passion in the business. Just to give you, I mean, when we started the business, we had absolutely no passion whatsoever. So maybe it's getting back to one of the questions you had, is how did we get the business to grow with absolutely no cash? I was on the dole at the time, and you're going, right, we said the first thing we would do is put a few quid into AdWords. And literally it was €5 a day, €5 a day into AdWords. And the beauty about that is that it's you can really control the spend so dramatically that every single cent put in will return you 3. And that's what we did. It was all about a return on investment. We never loosened up in terms of the keywords we'd use, and we became, and one of the reasons we became very, very good at AdWords is purely because we didn't have any money to waste. So, about MixGarage.com, we're an online retailer of car parts and accessories. It depends on who you ask in the business what we are. Some people would describe us as a car parts retailer. I believe we're a technology company that sells information. Technology is what we're all about. We've actually got more software developers in-house than we do have warehouse staff. We have 42 employees across IT, marketing, warehouse, customer service, and accounting. We sell to approximately 70 countries on a monthly basis. We manage 6 million data records, which is still a tiny part of the car parts market. Innovation is key to our success, and when we talk about innovation, we're talking about just monitoring what our competitors are doing, and being extremely agile in terms of IT. We can turn around in terms of IT and actually put in very, very big changes literally overnight, and we do that all the time. We try to lead rather than follow with everything we do. I mean, we have, a lot of our products with software innovation tools that automate all our image capture, automate our 360 images. Everything we do is about automation. Sorry, there's an image missing on the right-hand side there, but you get the idea anyway. Just to get into a tiny little bit what we're about. I do a lot of people here at websites. Your website must be kept updated, must be kept clean, must be current, and must entice customers to take a further look. There is nothing worse than going onto websites and seeing things not being fresh on a website, not being updated. Sometimes there's dates. The only thing that's actually live is a little date ticker on the website. The website is out of date for 6 months or a year. Nobody is going to buy in those sort of instances. You need to be current, absolutely current. As we're saying with the Garth Brooks thing, can we do anything on the Garth Brooks side of things? I just want to give just a quick overview of what we do here. I'm going to leave plenty of time for questions, okay? So we talk to a lot of people all the time, and you get this idea from people that, it's just a website. It can't be that difficult. Enterprise Ireland will send us clients from time to time, and I had one client that came in not a client, but a person to talk to came into us about 6 months ago and said, I want to set up a website so I can go on more about it. So get your head in a better place, and then we'll talk about it again at some point. So a website is all about infrastructure management, about how you manage the data set, how you're going to process orders, how you're going to manage the data, how you're going to manage the content, how you're going to manage your customer service, your returns management, fraud, marketing, your pricing strategy. If you don't have those right, putting any amount of marketing against something is completely useless. So you need to get those absolutely bang on, because if you're taking in orders and suddenly you're messing with them trying to get them out the door, customers will not come back to you, especially in the early stages. You need to get them absolutely bang on. Just because it's about marketing, I said we'd talk a little bit more about the marketing side of things and how we do things. Everywhere I talk about marketing, I keep coming back to data. It's all about data. It's all about selling data. It's all about selling accurate data. And it's again coming back to being the technology business. And without data, we're in big trouble. We have gotten sales up by, in a lot of ranges, by about 300% over the last 18 months. simply by getting data right, getting the categorization right, getting the meta tags right, adding videos to product, adding 360 images to products, just really presenting a picture when they come into the website that they cannot go away. They're on exactly the right product. And it's not about a race to the bottom in terms of price. Where we had, for example, 360 images and videos on our products, customers were about 40% more likely to buy, even though we might have been a little bit more expensive than competitors. Because when you go to a competitor site, you find sometimes that you go, well, you know, they're a little €5 cheaper than mixedgarage.com, but I'm not sure if I'm getting the right part here. Go to mixedgarage.com, they're sure they're getting the right part, and that works very well. Okay. In the early days, we did an awful lot of leaflet drops. We had no money. So the only thing we could do is actually hijack printers in the odd workplace and things like that. Print out brochures, cheap guillotine in Argos, and we actually started putting leaflets on the car windows and everything. And we kept doing that until the council came after several times for littering. But it's something you had to do. I mean, it was all about getting out there, getting visitors onto your website. And this was before AdWords. We really didn't have a cent to think. Okay? Google AdWords then came along, and we'll talk a little bit more about Google AdWords in the next slide if people are interested. Okay? Facebook was very important to us in the early days. We were one of the first advertisers on Facebook. So much so that when, you know, I actually overheard two girls at one point talking about how did Mixed Garage manage to infiltrate my webpage. They weren't used to having ads on their webpage at all. So that when we went on there first, the backlash was huge. People think we hijacked the page. What did we do? How did we get onto their page? And until people realized, you know what, this is what marketing is all about. This is what advertising. We did a lot of, over the past couple of years then, when we had a bit more cash, we did some radio advertising. Great for branding, but very, very difficult to measure in terms of real conversion rates. Is it converting? If not, it's difficult to measure. Certainly it's something you do if you have a lot of money, you get it out there, it's great, but it's difficult. And someone that's in IT, that's quite logical. If you can't measure these things, it drives you a little bit crazy, so we actually cut them here. PR, vital in the early days as well. We got a lot of press. We're trying to punch above our weight. For the first 2 years, I was running it from my bedroom in House in Ranelagh. We got an interview with the Independent journalist out to our office to interview me. And you're going, how are we going to get around this one? So we told him the electricity went out in the office we were in. So I met him in Russell's in Ranelagh to go through the interview and everything. So that worked pretty well. We do a lot of different things then as well, right? We do sort of crazy things. We do at Paddy's Day, we try different things all the time. Right? Paddy's Day viral video that we did. So if you do a look up on YouTube for that, you'll see that. Right? We do, for example, channel sales. We do an awful lot to try and get users on the channel. We have again shoving out video, shoving out Twitter feeds, shoving out Facebook feeds, all of those sort of things. Okay? We also have dispatched product images that we send out to our customers. As soon as somebody orders something from us, when it's going out the door, we have a dispatched product image with a background that's mixedgarage.com. The early days of sending that wasn't about marketing on the back end. It was about saying to customers, look, we know exactly what we've sent out to you, and it's traceable, and it was also for our packers so that we could see what people are correct. But now customers actually love it. They talk about it all the time. If you go onto Twitter feeds, go onto boards.ie, they love when you do something different. The fact that you can see the parcel. But as soon as it's shipped out, it's just a simple IP camera, bangs the photo out to the customer. They love all that sort of stuff. Just yesterday, we set up a Garth Books helpline. Really, we decided, what can we do here to try and get customers to try and cash in that start. Okay? So I'm going to, for any of you Garth Books fans there, actually, I'm going to bring it for you. This is, by the way, it's getting thousands of calls. It's actually overwhelming our systems. Our systems can take 96 calls at one time. It's really going bananas at the moment. Smartphone, and I can't find the dial button. Okay.
Welcome to the official Guardbooks helpline. We understand how difficult this must be for all the Guardbooks fans in Ireland. We are here to help. Talking is always the first step. Please note that you are in position 399,998 in the queue. In the meantime, please listen very carefully to the following options. If, as a result of the cancellation, you are experiencing stress or exam anxiety, please press 1 now. If, as a result of the cancellation, you are feeling betrayed in any way, please press 2 now. If, as a result of the cancellation, you feel that tomorrow may never come, then please press 3 now.
So press any one of them.
Thank you. We understand that this has been very difficult for all of us, but we are here to help. We have teamed up with another extremely disappointed fan, Mick from MickGarage.com, to give you a special discount that will ensure that tomorrow will come. Use voucher code INPIECES to get a 10% discount off MickGarage.com. Thank you. Mick really cares.
That's just we do things like that from time to time. Just we try and piggyback on anything that's going on at the moment, right? And at the moment, that's going around on LinkedIn, and it's going around on Facebook, and you're getting these thousands of callers in that you're paying absolutely nothing for. I mean, it took us yesterday an hour to do that. We came up with the idea, and we put it in 1 hour. So that's what we're pretty good at. It's all about guerrilla marketing. Okay? We've set up over time, right? We've set up dummy products on our website. Dummy products work really well. We have a decent amount of traffic coming through. Not just that, I mean, the products are so crazy that people actually start to send them on. And the worst of it is that some people go to buy them. So we're going to show you one if we can. Okay. Sure. Do a sound when this is it.
Can you hear this, guys? Might want to move on.
Four customers bought that. 4 customers bought that. We have, I think was 12, I'm not sure what the price that was there, but yeah, around probably 5 or 6 quid or something. But actually 4 customers went and bought it. And it's difficult to have to ring up those customers and say, look, that's not real, it doesn't work, right? There's nothing there, right? But we did one more. If anyone remembers the floods from was it October 2011, the big flood in Dublin? But we actually said, because we used to sell snow socks for cars for winter time, you know, and so we said, why not? We'll do a flood sock. Right? If we can get back here. No, we've already played that. Perfect. Okay. We created this. A friend of mine said to me, his name is Brendan. He said, why don't you have something for the floods? And I went, grand. 20 minutes later, we sent him a link. Now, it's a pretty bad one. It's the first one we did. But again, a couple of customers bought it. Okay, the Bren Tube, a revolutionary new wheel sock for floods, right? Allows you to cruise home through those floods. And at the end, it sort of gives it away a little bit. The Bren Tube, right, provides huge buoyancy for your car and up to 3 passengers. Allows you to cruise home at up to 50 kilometers per hour. Only for use in water over 12 inches deep. Please note that most county councils regard your vehicle as a boat when the Bren Tube is on. Okay? Leaves you liable for berthing fees over here somewhere. The Bren Tube is a temporary measure only to get you home. Please note that as you're in the car, it's not designed to be a boat. Your steering and braking would seriously be affected. Okay? So caution is advised. And it has a lot more sort of attributes and things like that. And again, customers bought this stuff. But more importantly, people picked up the link and started to send it on. I mean, this was even mentioned on Facebook and everything else, and people were going on boards.ie going, this is crazy. Mixed Garage are doing really dangerous things. We're actually, and so you're going, like, it's, you know, a lot of people didn't see that it's actually fake at all, right? But it worked extremely well. We had thousands of visitors to that page. Okay. Again. Okay. Now, because all of our marketing is around AdWords, I just said I'd give a quick rundown, a really quick rundown of what we do on AdWords. Okay. Again, because we started on AdWords, for us it was all about every single penny returning 3 cents. And again, it's about getting data right. It's all about data. Never bidding for #1 position. The problem with Google AdWords is if you bid for #1 position, you're always bidding with people that don't know what they're doing in Google AdWords. You allow them to deplete their funds, stick around position 3 or 4, where it'll cost you an awful lot less to get a click. Okay? Only run a return on investment more. Make absolutely sure that you know the maths behind what you're selling. If something is costing you, a tenner, you want, if something is costing you a tenner, the maximum you can spend on Google AdWords is a tenner to get that sale. So that's if you want to break even. Okay? Don't use broad keywords to start with. Make sure your ads and URLs are accurately targeted. Too many times when you go on to the likes of Google AdWords, for example, you see an ad for something you're looking for, it brings you straight into the home page of the website. And that happens very, very often. So the key is to make sure that it's deep linked directly into the product and they're more likely to purchase. And even better is to make those pages unique to Google so that you can only find those through Google. So you might give a special offer or you might have a scarcity marketing program. So for example, somebody comes in, you go, well, we've only got 5 left and we've got them at this price and there's 10% off. Use, again, plenty of negative keywords. Don't accept Google's suggested bid. Every time you try and create Google AdWords ads, Google will tell you the suggested bid on this ad is €1. Ignore all of that. Just bid what you're comfortable with. 10 cent, bid 10 cent. Don't look at Google suggested bids. Getting your landing pages right is absolutely essential. When somebody comes through Google AdWords, you've got one chance to grab that customer and convert that customer. If your landing pages aren't right, or if there's information missing from those pages, you're not going to convert the customer. Okay, and it feeds directly back into your ROI. Always split test ads. Too many times, clients that I would look at, for example, that would ask me to look at a Google AdWords campaigns, would have 1 ad per ad group, or maybe even 3 ads, but they'd all be the exact same ad copy, URLs, and everything else. So make sure you split test your ads, changing just tiny bits of information, and keep working on the one that's performing worse, and actually to increase that. Use call to actions. Use buy now, for example. Only 5 left. Get this now. Works very well. For us, one of our keys in the business is AdWords automation. We run at the moment about just over 500,000 unique ads for every single product range you can imagine. With the breadth of products that we have, it's just not possible to manually manage all the ads that we have. So we've built through Google AdWords API system. We've directly linked into Google AdWords. It runs into our database. So if we add a new product overnight, the system will automatically pick it up at 7 o'clock every morning and create a new ad for it. But more importantly is if we run out of stock, it'll actually take down those same ads. So there's very, very little wastage on our ads. Okay. Again, automation is key for us, as I've said. Get data right. Okay. Product categorization and tags is absolutely essential. How do you manage your products? I mean, we have found simple categorization of your products makes a massive difference in terms of conversion rates and in terms of SEO. Image automation. For us, we need images on absolutely everything. How do we do that? How do we capture images? So we went out there to the market and we said, right, what we wanted to do, we had a problem whereby we wanted to be able to scan a product, okay, have the camera automatically click on the scan and have that image on the website in 1 second. How do we do that? So we went out to the market and to see if there was any software out there that could do that for us. There wasn't, so we actually went and built the software. We built the software within 2 weeks that would allow us, literally, as soon as we scan an item, that clicks the button on the camera, the image goes from the turntable directly onto the website with 100% accuracy, and it's done in 1 second. Again, simple barcode scanning for us was a massive thing, because barcoding and data for us, it's all about when a customer comes in, they order a set of brake pads, for example, we want to get the right brake pads out to the customer first time. Until we introduced that, we had problems with picking and packing, and in the early days, problems with picking and packing can kill the business very, very quickly. So now we almost have no errors when out the door at all. That's pretty much it. Hopefully nice and short. Any questions? Yes. No, we don't do any dropshipping at all. We don't do any dropshipping from suppliers. Everything, we actually started the business, we were dropshippers. We started because we had no cash at all. Instead, we set up with a couple of local distributors and shops and Dublin. It was an absolute disaster. Complete disaster. You were selling that chair, for example, it would go out and bite, be broken. So what happened is we said for the business to survive, had to bring everything in-house, run everything through our own barcode system to make sure that any errors are caught by us before they get out. We don't have, I mean, but it is coming full circle now. In the early days, manufacturers didn't dropship anything. Now they really all want to get into the e-commerce market, but they're prepared to do that. But it's certainly, I mean, in the UK, dropshipping is still in its infancy. In the US, it's more prevalent, but it is starting. In the early days, none. Absolutely none. Sorry. We had nothing to lose. We couldn't avoid no money. We had nothing to lose, so it didn't really matter. I was learning to set up e-commerce. But what we did then was when we worked with local suppliers, we actually take on, we have a product feed from each of the suppliers that comes into us automatically about 3 or 4 times a day. So we load everything that comes in on this product feeds, load it onto our website, and see what sells. What sells, we start to look at getting better prices elsewhere, maybe bringing in some from Taiwan sometimes. Or even we also capture all the time. So when somebody comes onto our website, types in a part we don't have, we capture that information. So as Steve said, it's all about gathering the information, looking at what people are looking for. For example, one of the things that is massive for that's we know that people are looking for more. We're out there actively now trying to find tailor-made work. All about that. They closed the door. They absolutely did. Because when we got Enterprise Ireland funding, it caused an absolute uproar for Enterprise Ireland. Apparently, it got through the channels that shouldn't have gone through it. And their big fear was if you were funding, like the Barnex and anyone else, we're going to get funded. So they started to close off. And they don't want pure retail. But we had the other side, which is 4D. A big part of our business is technology, or e-commerce technology. So we were able to sort of explain that we did it. The moment it's our mobile offering is pretty good. So our mobile offering is actually underway. It's about 8 weeks away. And at the moment we have about 15% of the traffic. But that's going to go over time. Part of the thing at the moment is, are we losing all of those sales? A lot of products we sell, products people can get around to it. They're actually So they're going to go back and test anyway, more of those. In Ireland, we have about 250,000 or near enough. That would have been, how many of those are repeat? A repeat business rate in Ireland is very high, it's at about 58%. But again, it depends on what way you look at that. 58% is great, but it also means that you're maybe not bringing in as many new customers, even in Ireland. In the UK, because we're on a big expansion plans at the moment in the UK, our repeat business rate is like 50%. That would be one for Rob. It's actually a good question. I don't know. I can't answer that. I suppose with starting the business, I mean, one of the lessons would have been, I mean, you know, you talk to a lot of people, they go, this won't work. And it's all about driving past the negative and actually trying something. Because no matter who you talk to, I mean, Google guys would have been told by so many people, that's useless, that's not going to work. Trying to get past it, and if you have conviction, and if you have the absolute belief that your business idea is going to work, you've got to go and give it a try.
You heard from the Halo with branding.
Yes.
No offense, but very difficult something to creative names. So you attempt to change about your people.
It's funny. It's funny. We have on our board. We have and some elderly gentlemen on our board. They always felt that our business, you know, we could do with a brand name change. You talk to anybody else, and it's actually a unique brand. It's not like, you know, if you're creating a brand, you're creating something, parts.com, you don't know if people are looking for your product. Right? You don't know what your brand is worth, but whereas we can look at it now and say, look, well, Mixed Garage, the number of people that look for mixedgarage.com generates 3 million quid worth of sales per year. So it's a very unique brand. Now, in the early days, you're absolutely right. It took about 3 minutes to come out, and that was it. There was no real thought behind it or anything else. The main name was available, but it's to us now. I believe mixedgarage.com is very powerful. Even in Ireland, I mean, in the UK, we've talked about these things as well. And we said, but how is mix going to work in the UK? It's a derogatory term at times, and and the person that came from is one of the founders of PaddyPower.com in the UK. So. It's one of the things that I was looking at, believe it or not necessarily. Yeah, sorry. This gentleman is wondering, would we ever go to 3D printing in terms of being able to print some parts over time? Absolutely, it is something that we've looked at. It's one of the things that I'm actually personally very interested in, the idea of 3D printing, what you can do with that. I mean, specific little components, absolutely. I mean, but it's something I suppose we haven't given a thought at the high level in business, but it's something I'm very interested in. There's always threats. I mean, there's always threats from some of the bigger online car parts companies in Europe, and there is one of them in here as well. But there's always the threat that some of them can come in and put millions into the market and sell stuff for half nothing, okay, and it would probably hurt your business. But we also have the technology arm of the business, which is very, very powerful for us. We're extremely agile in terms of the technology we can develop. We're extremely agile in terms of, as I said, automation and everything. So I think really it's some of those big players coming into the market with a huge amount of. One of the things we are looking at is white labeling product. Where, I mean, we're getting a lot of companies at the moment, even manufacturers abroad. Traditionally, manufacturers, certainly in the motor industry, would have been very, very closed shop. They would have their distributors in different countries, and that was it. If you wanted to get their product, they went through the distributor. That's all changing very, very dramatically, and it's changing around Europe. And manufacturers now know that that model is dying and it's going to be dead in 5 or 10 years. So they're all trying to get in on the back of this e-commerce systems. So a lot of those manufacturers actually looking to Mixed Garage to actually white label a product for them so that they can sell it through Ansys. We do. We currently sell. We sell a lot of we have wonders. What we're trying to do is one guy brings in one from the English, another guy has to steal those two, bring them in as a Mixed Garage. So we put different things like air freshness and we put these air fresheners into the boxes, put them over the bale, put them up the cars, and next time they come back, we put a voucher into the box and say to the customer, come back through Mixed Garage and we give you €5 off the first order. So it's all about one guy trying to bring in the event, the other guy trying to steal those customers. Now, it's easier to do that on eBay. Amazon customers seem to stick to Amazon very, very tightly, so it's harder to use them big quick. Other people are saying? That's right, yeah. I think it's something that we're looking to sound like very good to that's what we do. Big deals are very, very I think the idea was it's harder these days to start doing that. It's probably easier in certain laws in the end of sales and wouldn't cost you to do that. It wouldn't cost you to ship it to customers. But also probably the imagination of a lot of big players and stuff like that probably more to be honest.
All right, we wrap it up. We'll have a round of applause.
Don't forget to take your air fresheners when you're going. They're actually limited edition. This is only one out of 500,000.
Okay, right. I'm going to say one more thing to you before the shop, which is the winner of the best question. Who do you think is who's the candidate for the best question? Stephen, can you think of the best question? No. All right. Well then, I'm just going to give it to Mark. Where's Mark? Yay! Well done. You won. Okay. One more thing, which is now this forum is awesome, right? It's great to come along, hear from these awesome experts, but I'd really like to get to know you guys a bit better, right? What I'm doing is I'm organizing an intimate 12-person dinner in Wagamama with these guys who are called Food Tribe. Tribe Food, right. So Tribe Food, and what we're doing is we're having an intimate 12-person dinner just for growth hackers, right? So I know when you go home and you try and talk to your husband or your daughter or your kid or whatever about this stuff, they don't want to hear about it. But I'm hoping to get 11 other people also interested in analytics and marketing and all that sort of stuff. So the event is on the 29th of July. We'll be here in town. It's €30 to come along, and I'm going to be selling tickets right here afterwards. So if you're interested in coming along to talk to you about hacking, please come up and buy it right now. Now, Jason is going to tell us what we're going to do next, right?
Okay.
We are going. Well, okay.
Okay. We'll do all the thank yous. So So the Irish Times, particularly Irish Times Training, this is their venue. They've invited us in. This is the second time they've put up with us, so they've been quite good. The last day that we were here, one thing that they said was they were looking for placements for students who are coming through their training programs. So if anyone has, is looking for someone to go into, to work on your team or work within your team, if you could reach out to Irish Times Training, they're always looking for graduate placements, and that'd be amazing if you could do that. We also have a big thank you to Halo. So Halo are going to be some of the costs in us going en masse over to the Bull and Castle. I'd encourage you, as many of you as possible, to try and come along. It won't just be us. There'll be a whole other kind of tech kind of meetup community thing going on, which will be amazing. So I'd encourage you all to do that. There's a voucher to get a bit of a discount. I'd encourage people to get maybe an 8-seater cab. See how many of them you can get at the one time. And a bit of a denial of service and and your thing. We're competing with that other gig that's on in Marley Park, so it's gonna be fun. The voucher code is GrowthHackers14. So make sure if you don't have the app, just install it really quick. And we'll all be going en masse there. What else have we got? Alexandra. A big thank you to Alexandra. Do you want to say something? No? Okay. That's all good. Well, a big thank you to Alexandra and to everyone who helped set up today. We have some amazing volunteers. We've got the guys who are doing videos. We've got people doing camera. We've got the venues, and thanks to everyone for coming out. Who else have we got? I think that's everyone. We already said John already got a bit of a shout out already, so you're good. The camera guys, you happy? Yeah. So. Oh. Okay. So just everyone just look at this. Okay. So it's all good. He has an amazing service. You guys, you do film production, but you also do renting of equipment as well. Is that right? So even if you want some equipment to bring along to film your own stuff, these guys can help out. I was looking at some of your, if you have PA stuff or if you just want cameras, little bits and pieces, that can be useful as well. And Bob's amazing. You won a prize, Bob, so you can't really argue with that. So we'll be going straight over there. We're going to have some finger printing, some bits and pieces organised when we get there. We have some tables reserved with the other guys, and many of you, come over. That'll be amazing. And thanks very much. We appreciate all you guys coming out, tickets, and hopefully there's another event after the dinner on the 28th of August. That's the next event. We may have a different venue, and we'll be announcing that in a couple of weeks.
I think we should go back to the sugar.
Yeah.
Stay here.
Who's undecided? Okay.
Who has an arm?
Who has 2 arms? 2 arms, anyone? Okay. So we'll probably be mixing up the format a little bit. We go with the 3 speakers. We go with we try and get the best people we can who are available. Sometimes because of schedules and stuff like that, we can't always guarantee people will be here. But it'd be, we appreciate your support. If you can keep coming to events, we really appreciate it. We've only committed to a series of events, so it's not something that will go on forever. So try and keep coming while they go.
If you think there's someone awesome, challenge us. Give us the name.
And if you want to sponsor, getting them here too, that'd be amazing. Just saying. But we'll give you a good shout out. We're good at shout outs. So we're gonna wrap up now. Make sure grab your halos now. Hit the buttons right this second. We're going to the Bull and Castle. It's up the stairs in the Bull and Castle. I'd advise you, if you want to walk, that's up to you. But we have Halo, so being some cost. So we'll see you up there. Thanks very much for coming. Cheers. Oh yeah, there's air fresheners too.
Hey, if you want to go to the dinner, come over here.
That's good. See you on there. Yes, see you there, right? Cheers.
Oh really? Yeah.
Oh, Nick, there's something not right with that.